Welcome to the How to Process a BAS IAS and PAYG batch class. In this demonstration we'll be showing you a scanner that's been attached and scanning the images by creating a batch. For those that are using the import controller, the images will already be arrived waiting for you to actually validate. So the first thing we do is fire up the batch manager. We're going to create the batch, choose the batch class that we're working on today. In this case it's the BAS. We click Save and we click Close, which creates an entry and it's waiting in the queue for scanning. Next thing to do is need to process that, so you can either right mouse click or hit the process button, and that will fire up the Kofax scan application. In there you just click the Scan All button once you've filled up the hopper with all your different types of BAS, IAS and PAYG forms. You'll notice that it creates this structure where it's got a blue object and then objects below it. They're the splitting of the documents and they're based on reading that barcode in the top right corner of the screen. It hasn't identified the document yet, but it will in the next process. If you find that the documents didn't split correctly, you can drag and drop them and move them around and even rotate images in case they're not facing the correct orientation. So you have the ability to do a little bit of quality control check here to make sure that it's split at the right page. And if not, you have the opportunity of splitting. So you can hit split and it'll take that point onwards, create a blue object, which is a document, and bring those two pages together. If you didn't use the split function and you decided to say create a document, it will only take that one page. And leave the other pages within that document number 5. So splitting a document is the ideal way, because you normally would take all the other pages with it that's contained below it. So once you've split the document and you've noticed that everything's split correctly and it's all facing the right way and the quality's great and the barcode looks good, you can then also look at things like what does the interface look like and make changes to your interface just in case your interface doesn't look like this. So if you look at the view control, you can do things like changing the way thumbnails are viewed. You can lock the interface down, and this is very specific to the user who's logged onto this machine with their domain account. By default, these prompts for closing and deleting batches and prompting before deleting a batch, their default is turned on. So if yours is turned on, by all means do things like turn them off. You also notice the image viewer on the right hand side can be changed so that you can actually see more documents if you like. The default is just a single page view. Also the thumbnails on the left hand side, you notice the size of those, you can adjust those. The default is 60. I like to change it usually to 80 to 100 so that they make it a little bit more easier for us to look at. In regard to the other options, we normally don't touch those, but definitely turn off your prompts and make your thumbnails bigger and expand the tree. So once you've done that, it's going to make life a little bit easier. You also have zoom controls. If you're not sure if the quality is any good, you can zoom in by dragging from the left corner to the right corner, and you can see it zooms in. If you double click on the object, then it will zoom back out again. So as you can see, there's so many pages there, and we can now just close the document. It'll then move on to recognition, which will then identify the documents and also perform the OCR to look up the tax file number, look up PM, bring back the client, and capture any other data that was part of the design. If it doesn't start, you can also click the process button in case you've got the services not running automatically and you need to kick it off. You can just click right mouse click and process or hit the process button. These are the processes that it goes through. It goes through scan, recognition, validate, PDF and export. So your job is now to validate the data, and as you see it just cycles quickly through and it's stopping on this index field because it didn't feel overly confident that it read the information correctly. So it's up to you to just confirm that's true and accurate. You'll also notice now that on the left hand side the documents have got the type, the form names like a 4192 or a 4193. So all you're doing here is basically just tabbing through and ensuring that the data is true and accurate. So as you see, it just cycles through automatically. It's stopped on this because it's actually picked up the 29 at the end of the tax file number. So by all means, you can just retype it or erase it. You can try to use the rubber band command by dragging and dropping. But as you see, if you do the rubber band, it puts spaces in it, and we don't like spaces as far as the ABN number goes. So you're basically just tabbing through and confirming the data, and then the rest of the processes like PDF and export should happen automatically. And if it doesn't, then you need to right mouse click and actually process those jobs. As I said at the beginning, there's sometimes some clients will have those processes running automatically in the background. So the next thing I'm going to do is show you just an alternative to validation. So I'm going to create another batch quickly. I'm going to allow it to go through to validation. So I'm going to let it go through to recognition automatically, wait for a moment. If we hit the F5 key, it'll refresh the screen and let you know how the job's going. So as you can see, it's still in progress. If I hit F5 again, it says, yep, you've done, it's waiting for validation. So in this case, what I'm showing you something a little bit extra is that if you find that you're on a particular form, and it says in this case, it's say a 4190 or a 4192, in this case, I'm stopping on a 4197 and I'm going, well, hang on a minute, that's not correct. It's not a 4197. So if you click on the batch editing function at the top in the icon menu, you'll notice that you'll have the ability to actually change the form type. So let's assume this isn't a 4197, it's a different form altogether. As soon as you do batch editing, you now have the option to right mouse click and change the form. And let's pretend that it's not a 4197, that it's a 4193. So here's another chance to just double check that the system was able to recognize the barcode correctly in the correct form type. Now you can switch to data entry. Now because recognition has already run, you need to manually key all the values. You could send, if you had lots of them with errors, send them back to recognition, but in this case we're only just doing one. And here I am using the rubber band OCR to pick up the period, and I'm also going to use it to scrape off the due date. In this case, the financial year, I believe, is 2013, and I just tab through. So that's another way of handling in validation the feature called batch editing, and that's applicable to all your batch classes. The things that I've shown you today can be done across all the batch classes. The batch editing function, the changing of the forms, the OCR zonal rubber banding, the rotation, and all those sorts of functions can be done. After you scan, one of the things you should be doing is after each scan job is firing up your digital imaging, clicking on the scans attributes page, and then having a look at the jobs to see how they went. In this case, I've got some warnings based on the matter could not be retrieved, and that's okay because this is a demo and this particular client doesn't have a particular matter for 2013 to support its BASs. However, it was able to file the document against the client, and in this case it's filing it against Virtual Cabinet. We also have some additional events assigned to it to create letters. So for example, if you're using BPA and you're generating letters for clients, there is the events page assigned to the different forms which instruct BPA to generate well-formatted merged letters that can be printed, emailed or sent to the portal via the user. For those letters, if you've not seen this, the digital imaging to-do page is where when BPA generates the letters, they appear in this interface. Under the column called Documents will be a hyperlink to the Word document. So you can open up the Word document here, you can look at the original image, which is the scan document, you can print the letters off, and then you can highlight all the jobs and you can approve the jobs for filing into Virtual Cabinet. So if you have a look at the 4197 form, you'll see how we mapped that. Sorry, the 4193 IAS form, you'll see how we've actually mapped it. And you can see that it's a Virtual Cabinet mapping. and it's going to tax correspondence with a security profile, and we're filling in index 2 and 3, which is mandatory, and index 4 and index 5. And there's the events that we use to assign BPA to generate letters for us, and here's just a quick view of what attributes it's assigned to. So the important thing out of this is when you scan and you finish your batch for the day, you should look and investigate all your warnings and messages just to make sure that everything's okay. And if you're responsible for processing letters and saving them and printing them, then you need to also look at the digital imaging to-do page. As part of the BAS batch class design, there are additional indexes like G21T7. They're normally hidden from view and from the validation person. So if you wish to take advantage of those extra index fields, you need to look at how to hide Kofax validation batch class video, and that'll explain to you how to activate those extra indexes, and then you'll need to know how to map them and make them available for processing. Thank you.